You've been thinking about motorcycles completely backward. While you're drooling over that shiny superbike with track day specs, you're ignoring the only question that actually matters. Will this thing start when I'm too old to kick it? Today, I'm revealing the 13 most reliable motorcycles ever made. These aren't regular bikes. They're the two-wheeled tanks that mechanics hate because they never break down. Grab a coffee. I'm about to show you 13 motorcycles that'll still be running when your grandkids are old enough to ride them. Number 13. The Triumph Thruxton 900 proves you don't need to sacrifice style for reliability. While other retro bikes leave you stranded, the Thruxton just keeps running. At its heart sits a 52.8 cubic inch parallel twin engine that Triumph deliberately kept air-cooled. Not because they couldn't afford liquid cooling, but because fewer parts means fewer failures. No radiator to leak, no water pump to seize up. The torque hits you at basement level RPMs, so you're not constantly wringing the engine's neck just to merge on the highway. That's the secret sauce right there. Redlining is basically like swinging a hammer at your engine internals. Do it enough times and something's gonna crack. Number 12. Back in the 90s, when every manufacturer was racing to build crotch rockets, Kawasaki zigged while everyone else zagged. The Zephyr 1100 was their middle finger to the horsepower wars. It was built to still be running when all these cutting-edge machines were scrapped for parts. Under the tank lurks a 64.2 cubic inch air-cooled 4-cylinder that's basically loafing through life. Kawasaki could have squeezed way more power from this block, but they deliberately left meat on the bone. Why? Because an engine running at 70% is an engine that doesn't eat itself alive. It still throws down 93 horses and 72 pound-feet of torque when you twist the grip, which is more than enough to put a stupid grin on your face without grenading itself. The engine block is beefed up with a power lifter, so it doesn't flex when you hammer the throttle. And those outdated carbs, they'll still be mixing fuel and air long after your buddy's fuel injection system has shit the bed. Just clean them once every blue moon and forget about them. Number 11. Yamaha kept making the SR400 virtually unchanged for over 40 years. The 24.3 cubic inch thumper is so basic a caveman could fix it. One cylinder, air cooling, 2 valves, 1 carburetor, that's it. No coolant to leak all over your garage floor. No fancy 4-valve head to go out of adjustment every other Tuesday. No spaghetti mess of electronics to fry the first time you ride through a puddle. The Kickstarter isn't just a hipster gimmick. It's one less complex system to fail. No starter motor to burn out. No solenoid to corrode. A friend of mine has had his SR400 since 1981. It's been his only transportation for over 40 years. He's never done anything beyond basic maintenance. No rebuilds, no major repairs, just oil changes, valve adjustments, and tires. Number 10. The Suzuki Bandit 1250 is the cockroach of the motorcycle world. It wasn't built to turn heads or break records, it was engineered to run forever. Hidden in its steel tube frame is a 76.3 cubic inch inline 4 that's nearly indestructible. Suzuki took the architecture from their proven GSXR engines but deliberately detuned it for real-world riding. The power delivery tells you everything: 98 horsepower and 79 pound-feet of torque, most of it arriving early in the rev range. This means you're not constantly thrashing the engine to access the power. Number 9. The BMW K1300S is what happens when German engineers get sick of hearing about Japanese reliability. BMW flipped the script and mounted the 78.9 cubic inch 4-banger lengthwise. Weird, right? But totally genius. It cuts down on drivetrain wear when you're crushing miles at triple digits. And with 174 horses and 103 pound-feet of torque, it's a straight-up rocket. Most bikes with this much power are ticking time bombs, but BMW built this machine like they were designing a bank vault that happens to go 170 miles per hour. The shaft drive eliminates chain maintenance entirely, and the suspension components are so overbuilt that they rarely need attention. Number 8. The Harley-Davidson FXD Dyna Superglide defines American reliability. Tough, straightforward, and built to run for decades. Crack open the frame and you'll find an 88 cubic inch air-cooled V-twin that screams American simplicity. Harley didn't design this twin-cam motor to win races. They built it to rumble through Death Valley in August with the temperature gauge pegged at 115 degrees and still get you to the next town without so much as a hiccup. The power numbers won't impress sport bike riders. It's only 65 horsepower and 78 pound-feet of torque, but that torque hits down low, meaning the engine barely works to move the bike. Low stress running equals exceptional longevity. Number 7. When Honda designed the CB1100, they weren't just recreating the look of their legendary CB series from the 1970s, they were bringing back the bulletproof engineering that made those bikes legends. At its heart sits a 69.6 cubic inch air-cooled inline-4 engine, no water pump to fail, no radiator to leak, no coolant hoses to burst in the middle of nowhere. With 88 horsepower and 68 pound-feet of torque, it delivers plenty of muscle without pushing any components near their limits. Number 6. Honda's been pumping out the XR650L pretty much unchanged since 1993. 3 decades of the same damn bike. This thing was built for riders who treat off-road like therapy. Hit a rock? The XR shrugs. Dump it in a creek? It'll start on the first kick. That steel frame can take beatings that would total most adventure bikes, and the 39.7 cubic inch air-cooled single is pure prehistoric reliability. No computers, no fancy cooling systems, just a piston hammering up and down until the end of time. It only makes 40 horsepower, which sounds pathetic until you realize it's making that power when buried to the hubs in mud or crawling over boulders that would send your buddy's GS back to the dealer. Number 5. Nobody ever got an adrenaline rush riding a Yamaha V-Star 650, but that's exactly the point. This bike wasn't built to impress your friends or win races. It was built to still be starting on the first try when every other bike in the garage has been scrapped. The 39.6 cubic inch V-twin is basically asleep even at highway speeds. Yamaha intentionally built this thing to run at maybe 60% of what it could handle. It's like they designed it specifically for people who forget to change their oil. The shaft drive means you can completely ignore one of the most common maintenance headaches on other cruisers. It makes about 40 horsepower and 37 pound-feet of torque. Boring numbers until you realize they're the same numbers it'll be making at 150,000 miles. Number 4. The Kawasaki KLR650 is the AK-47 of motorcycles. It's ugly, outdated, and absolutely refuses to stop working no matter how badly you treat it. This bike is like that friend who shows up to help you move in the pouring rain when everyone else suddenly has plans. It's not pretty, but damn is it loyal. The 39.7 cubic inch single-cylinder thumper makes a whopping 37 horsepower on a good day, but that's like complaining that your hammer doesn't have enough features. The KLR doesn't care about your fancy electronics or your premium fuel. The 6.1 gallon tank will carry you 300 miles between fill-ups, which is handy when you're crossing places that don't show up on GPS. Number 3. The Honda Goldwing GL1800 is basically a two-wheeled Lexus that will outlive your marriage, your mortgage, and probably you. Honda stuffed a 110 cubic inch flat 6 between those frame rails for a reason. The engine layout naturally cancels out vibration, which means internal parts aren't getting shaken to death. Even cranking out 125 horsepower and the same amount of torque, these engines are famously underworked. At 900 plus pounds, this bike isn't exactly flickable, but that's missing the point. It was designed to cross continents without breaking a sweat. The shaft drive means no chain maintenance, ever. The engine is buried so deep in that fairing that you need a shop manual in 3 hours just to check the oil, but it's engineered so well you barely need to. Number 2. Sport bikes aren't supposed to be reliable. They're high-strung, maintenance-hungry, temperamental machines. Then there's the Yamaha FJR1300, which somehow missed that memo entirely. Yamaha took a 79.5 cubic inch inline-4, beefed up literally every internal component, then tuned it to make 145 horsepower without breaking a sweat. Most engines making that kind of power are constantly on the verge of self-destruction. The genius is in the details. Forged pistons instead of cast. A cooling system that could probably keep a nuclear reactor from melting down. The transmission gears were so overbuilt they could survive a direct artillery strike. All wrapped in a package that handles like it weighs 200 pounds less than it actually does. Number 1. The Royal Enfield Bullet 500 isn't just old school, it's practically prehistoric. Enfield's been making basically the same bike since 1948, which makes it the longest continuously produced motorcycle model in history. While other manufacturers scrapped entire design departments and started over, Royal Enfield just kept stamping out bullets. Because why fix what isn't broken? The 30.4 cubic inch single-cylinder thumper makes a modest 27 horsepower and 30 pound-feet of torque. Numbers that wouldn't impress anyone in 1965, let alone today. But the cast iron cylinder head and simple pushrod valve train are virtually indestructible. When the nuclear winter comes, the only things left will be cockroaches and bullets, and the bullets will start on the first kick. Sure, none of these bikes will win a beauty contest against this year's latest plastic rocket, and they won't impress anyone with their spec sheet, but when you're 500 miles from home and the weather's turning nasty, horsepower doesn't mean squat. What matters is whether you'll make it back without calling a tow truck. Do you own one of these unkillable beasts? Tell me about it below. Got a different bike that should have made the list? Hit the comments and let's settle this once and for all. Real riders don't miss out. Smash that subscribe button and join the ride.